and welcome to the Burgess podcast, the show where we are opening up conversations about life at sea, discussing hot topics within the industry, as well as offering mental health support and promoting well-being for crew. Hi everyone, welcome to our first podcast of 2022. Now, I myself find it very hard to stick to an exercise regime, but as crew working at sea, you guys have all kinds of extra challenges to deal with when it comes to working out and making healthy food choices. So today I'm really pleased to be joined by Gaby Welch, who worked on a Burgess managed yacht for 8 years. She developed a real passion for health and fitness and qualified as a personal trainer and nutritionist whilst on board. So she knows firsthand the struggles that crew face in maintaining health and fitness routines. And her partner CJ have released an 8-week training guide targeted specifically for yacht crew. Hey Gaby, lovely to have you on the show. How was your Christmas?
Hello, thank you for having me. I had a wonderful Christmas, thank you. I had my sister who is also a yachty, and my husband was also able to fly back to Portugal. So we had a great Christmas. Yeah, but ready for the new year.
Yes, definitely. That sounds lovely. Mine was a lot quieter as COVID finally caught up with me. So I'm definitely feeling the need for some healthy living.
Yes.
So I've given a very brief overview of your time on yachts, but can you tell us a bit more about how your career started at sea and how your passion for fitness developed?
Yeah, so I went to university where I studied a marketing degree. After that, I went on to work in an advertising agency. And while there, one of my best friends from university who had joined the yachting industry spent 2 years phoning me almost weekly, telling me about this incredible industry that I had to join and I needed to leave my office job. So eventually, after 2 years of persuasion, I got an airplane to Fort Lauderdale by myself with not really any idea what to expect. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got into the industry. In terms of kind of getting into the fitness space, when I joined, I would say there was a lot of partying and drinking and all the rest, and it really was a good fun. But as the season started, obviously you need to find a bit more of a balance. And I started off by running. And this was more to kind of explore the places we visited in the short amount of space of time I had available. So whether it was on my break, before work, after work, I just started to do runs. And after a while, I really noticed both the mental and the physical benefits of this little bit of exercise I was doing each day or when I could fit it in. Yeah. And yeah, I'd say that's kind of how I got into the fitness, and it started with running. And then after a while, I started doing workouts, just things I'd found online. And that was kind of the starting point.
And I guess finding the time is the hardest and bit to motivate yourself to do, isn't it? Just trying to...
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we all know those long charter days, they go into weeks to months. So yeah, finding that time, but I really kind of scheduled it into my day like an appointment you would have with someone, you were saying a doctor or something. Just really made it a priority because I felt huge benefits from it. So although it wasn't always easy, it definitely helped.
Yeah, I mean, I find it very hard to commit to any kind of exercise routine, but we all know it's important to maintain a healthy mind as it is to maintain a healthy body. So you mentioned earlier about mental health. So do you think there is a direct link between consistent exercise and good mental health?
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a direct link. I think in the yachting industry, it's a pretty unique environment to live and work in. We constantly surrounded by other people being told what to do, or whether it's your seniors, your guests. And I think, finding that time just to work on yourself, whether it's yoga, stretching, a run, a workout, whatever it is, just kind of separating that time for you I think is so beneficial. And I mean, the mental benefits are scientifically proven, you know, the reduce of stress, the reduce of anxiety, better sleep. You know, it's endless. And I think the mental benefits are just as beneficial as the physical, if not more, really.
Yeah, definitely. So a top tip from you would be then to set a schedule, set a slot in your day for yourself for exercising and committing to it, I guess.
Yeah, and as I say, that's not always going to be easy. I mean, was I always up for it? Definitely not. You know, there nights where you have minimal sleep, and come your break time, you'd much rather crawl into bed and watch an hour or two of Netflix, which I think some days, yes, you need to listen to your body, but I think also rather dedicating, even if it's 10, 15, 20 minutes of some form of exercise, it's going to have a lot more benefits than spending those hours of your break or extra sleep in the morning. I think it really is important.
Definitely. I am very much a fan of the snooze button, but when I do it, I do always feel the benefits. But we mentioned in the intro, working out whilst working on a yacht isn't always the easiest. So what advice would you give to crew to stay motivated when on long stints away and with very little space to train?
Yeah, so this I think we'll expand on a bit at a later stage, but this was something I did struggle with, trying to find kind of a fitness program that took into all the limitations and challenges one faces when working on a yacht. I mean, not every yacht has a gym or gym equipment, so it can be hard. But I think following a simple program that doesn't require any equipment is a good starting point, and kind of everyone can do that. I think running or walking has huge benefits too, and you don't need anything for that. So yeah, I think it's just about prioritizing that little bit of time for you that really will help you in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. You work out a lot with your partner. How important is it to have a workout buddy?
CJ and I have spent many years working out together. I think, it's great to have someone to help motivate you. Maybe when your motivation is low, they might pick you up to kind of encourage you to go work out and vice versa. But I do also think one can't rely on that other person, because it's not always they might not always be there. They might be on a different schedule. So whether you work out together or you just have someone who can hold you accountable, whether that's someone at home, someone on the yacht, I do think it's nice to have some form of support. But in our industry, it's not always realistic that that person will be able to work out with you. So I think you need to find other ways to be motivated and to hold yourself accountable.
Yes, which your training guide, which we'll talk about in a moment, I guess can help if you don't have a training buddy on board the boat.
Yes, exactly.
Crew are cooked for by the chef every day. Does this make life easier or more difficult when trying to make healthy food choices? Are there unhealthy snacks available on board, or is it all healthy options?
So I think there's pros and cons to having a chef cook for you. Obviously, it's incredible. You have the food provided for you. I think the challenge comes in is the self-control. So having 2 fully cooked meals for you daily is obviously incredible, but it does mean there's a lot of food around at all times.
Yeah.
Then you add in your tea breaks, and it's just a lot. So I think if your chef does healthy food, that's amazing, but that's also not always the case. I do break this down in the Crew for training guide, just kind of tips on how you can work around if the food isn't as healthy as you're hoping for it to be, or as wholesome. So yeah, just small tips on what you can do to help that. I do also think, obviously, the snack cupboard, which everyone, when you first join the industry, it's your best friend, the endless supplies of sweets and cookies and chocolates. But I think there's a balance. I don't think one should cut all of that out completely. I really don't. I think living more kind of an 80-20% rule. So, fueling your body with good, wholesome food. But also, if you want the chocolate, have the chocolate. But try stop at 1, not at 5. Or, so just small things, but nothing drastic. And I also think it's very important to be eating enough. I mean, every job on a yacht is very physical. The days are long, and I think it's so important to be fueling our bodies. And obviously, the best option is good, nutritious food, but also our minds, and that sometimes comes with a treat here and there. So I think finding the balance, that's the most important.
Yeah, definitely. The idea of having a chef cook for me every day sounds idyllic, but yeah, like you said, with that comes the extra portion sizes, potentially the foods that you probably wouldn't cook for yourself, and yeah, I guess not relying on sugar to get you through your day, but
yes,
more nutritious.
Absolutely, and the caffeine too, that can really become a reliable source of energy. But I mean, there are alternatives, and it's sometimes it just takes a bit of time to make that switch. It might not happen overnight, but I think also have patience, have grace with oneself. But when you start to see the benefits, maybe that having a coffee at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. isn't going to help with your sleep, then those small changes can all add up.
Yeah, it's a big learning curve, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because we're all different as well. So, different foods have different effects on all of us. So it's learning and to listen to your body. What about alcohol? How much of an effect can that have on our efforts to get fit?
So I think in the yachting industry, there's always going to be alcohol come drop-off days, various events, whether you're going out with the guests as crew. And again, I don't think it needs to be avoided. I think we can live in a good balance. I think the problem comes in is whether you're having 1 or 2 or 3 drinks in the evening, or you're going all out and you're back at 6 a.m. and, then I think it does have, the knock-on effect can be worse. But again, doing that once every now and again is really not going to be a problem in the big picture. Yeah. But I think where one can it's better to do it all in moderation. And then the next day you'll feel much better for it. You'll make healthier food choices. You're probably going to sleep better. So yeah, about the balance, I don't think it needs to be cut out, but I do think in moderation, is
the key word, isn't it? Moderation.
Yes.
I hear it so much. Moderation, Renna.
I know it's the worst, but the best.
But I guess also moderation the night before, you're less likely to hit that snooze button the following morning.
The later the night, the later you sleep in, the less likely you are to go for the healthy option as opposed to the takeaway. So yeah, all those little things can add up.
Yeah. Carbs is always my thing if I have much alcohol the night before. So which is not my friend.
Yeah.
So tell us about your Crew Fit training guide that you've put together.
Okay, so we CJ and myself have obviously been on board, working on board for 8+ years. We both qualified as personal trainers and then went on to train our the guests on board, so the owner and his family, various charter guests we had. And the crew started to ask us for help with their training. So we ended up doing a winter in Palma. And CJ and I decided why not start a crew boot camp. So we spoke to the captain, and it was decided that if you were to exercise, we could start work an hour late. So not everyone weren't required to do it, but it was an option. So if you were doing the boot camp, you could start work an hour later. And we had an incredible response. We had the whole crew there, both captains. And this went on for almost 6 months. And the benefits were incredible. And the captains noted that, the positivity around the boats, people's mental health, all of it was just so much better. So we did that for a few months, which was great. Also a great way to bond as a crew. But through that, we got loads of messages of other crews, either in Palma asking if they could join, or people messaging us saying, do you have this available online? We would love to do it. So we kind of came up with the idea to create a guide that would be accessible for crew not in Palma or, in the Caribbean or wherever it was. So we kind of took our learnings from the last 8 years, took into consideration all the limitations and challenges that one faces when working out on board. That be the limited equipment, limited space, limited time. And we created a guide that is aimed at yacht crew that can be done literally in your cabin with a towel. If you don't have weights, you can use water bottles. So it's very, very minimal equipment. We also have beginner, intermediate, advanced options, as well as time options. So if you have 10 minutes, if you have 40 minutes, you can kind of pick how long you want to work out for. So it really is an adaptable program. That we spent a couple months creating after years of experience in the industry.
And if anyone listening was interested in accessing that guide, how would they do that? How would they get in touch with you? Or
it can be purchased on our website, which is www.hula wellness.com, or they can message on Instagram, which our Instagram is @health&fitnessretreat. So through either of those platforms. We also brought out some resistance bands that can be used in conjunction with the guide too. You don't have to have them to do the guide, but also something small that's great for yacht crew if they don't have any equipment on board is a small travel pack of three resistance bands that are great for working out on board. And those can also be bought on the same website.
Brilliant. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Well, thanks, Gaby. That sounds very motivating. I might have to look myself after this chat. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, and for inspiring us to get fit and healthy for 2022. Thanks, Gaby, and speak to you soon.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. Have a good year.